everybody, it is Julie. Welcome back to Pages and Pens. Today I'm here with my February wrap-up, and for such a short month that I told you I was not going to get a lot of reading done, I lied to you. So let's jump right into it. The first thing that I read was The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. This is a collection of poetry. I read this for the Emoji-a-thon readathon, and I will have that linked up above because I do give some thoughts in that. Similar to Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, I liked this one a lot better. The style of poetry is pretty similar, and it's not my favorite, but I liked the subject matter of this, and I liked the presentation of these poems a lot more. I'm glad that I have this. I gave The Princess Saves Herself in this one 4 stars. Then I read, also for the Emoji-a-thon challenge, I read Saga Volume 1 by Brian Vaughan and Fiona Staples, and then I read Volume 2 just for myself. These I gave 5 stars because they're my first foray into graphic novels. I have no basis for comparison. All I know is that I really enjoyed these. So I do talk about these a little bit more in the Emoji-a-thon wrap-up, but essentially this is an interspecies couple. They are warring factions on a planet, different alien races, I guess, on a planet that are at war, and they fall in love and they have a baby and they run away to keep the baby safe. And it is beautiful and really cool and super awesomely illustrated. And there's TV head people, which I don't understand, and I just enjoy it. It's definitely adult though. Just know that there is adult content. I will probably be treating myself to the rest of the series because I really enjoy it. Histories All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. And this one was phenomenal. I loved it so much. I gave this 4 stars. So this story follows Griffin. Griffin's boyfriend Theo, ex-boyfriend Theo, has died. Theo has moved out to California to go to school, and while out there, Theo falls in love or meets another guy. So Theo and Jackson start going out, and then unfortunately Theo dies in a drowning accident, and Jackson comes back and meets Griffin at the funeral, and they try to grieve together. Like, I feel weird saying, because maybe I shouldn't, because it's pretty normal for heterosexual couples to find partners, but everybody ends up being conveniently gay and accessible for the characters in this book, which I just feel like probably isn't reality. So it would be nice if it was. It got a little bit wrapped up a little bit too neatly. I loved this. I loved the characters. I liked how raw it was. I liked how real it was. I liked the representation of mental illness. I liked the representation of grieving and working through your own bullshit. In general, I'm realizing that I really love Adam Silvera's writing. I will probably do a separate book talk on this. I have not filmed it yet, but I want to because I think that it is a phenomenal book. And if you've not read Adam Silvera's books, More Happy Than Not or Histories All You Left Me, I do recommend them. So this was a 4-star read for me. Then I read Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I read that in audio format, and the audio book was so good. And Lady Midnight was everything I wanted every other Cassandra Clare Shadowhunter book to be, and they were not. This one follows a different cast of characters. This follows Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne, yes, and they are in the Los Angeles Institute, and it follows Julian and his family and Emma, who is his parabatai. It is so good, so long, but so good, and in audio format even longer. I really love the Shadowhunter world. I like the premise of it, and in this you got the best of everything. You do see and hear about characters from the Mortal Instruments. You also see and hear about characters from the Infernal Devices series. So even though I believe that this is the best of Cassandra Clare's writing, and I wish I could tell you to skip her other series, if you haven't read the Mortal Instruments or the Infernal Devices, there's going to be a lot you don't understand about this one, so I would say read them. In fact, there was so much hinting as to the end of the Mortal Instruments series that I caved and finished that series this month, which I had officially DNF'd and said I was never going to finish because I loved this book so much and I wanted to continue with this series as she publishes them. I gave this a full 5 stars because it really was everything I wanted all of her Shadowhunter books to be that they had not been yet. Then I read Zelda Fitzpatrick's Save Me the Waltz. This was my Java and the Librarians book for the month. I will have our link to our live show up above. It was not good, guys. However, the discussion about it was. If you have not already checked out the video of our chat, you really should. She wrote this in her final stint in an insane asylum before her death and wrote the book in 6 weeks, and it reads like it was written in 6 weeks. I gave that 2 stars because I was nice. Then I listened to Sex Object by Jessica Valenti, and Sex Object for me fell flat. I ended up giving that one 3 stars. It ended up being a lot of Jessica's sexual exploits, college drug use, etc. And there were some really horrific and gripping accounts of sexualization, victimization, and a reflection on her and what she allows in relationships or allowed in relationships, and how she was treated and viewed herself, and then how she valued herself in relationships as a result of those things. That was really interesting, and from a psychology standpoint I really appreciated that. And there were parts of it that were just felt very self-indulgent to me. Plus the story itself was very disjointed. You would have flash forwards and flashbacks. She would mention something and then not follow up with it until like later in future chapters. There didn't seem to be a flow to anything. It wasn't the best for me. It wasn't horrific. If you want to give it a read and it's something on your TBR and you really want to read it, I would say go for it. Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I have a full review of this up. This one I gave 3 stars. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I liked it just fine. I probably will not continue with the next book because I just didn't love it. That's all I'm going to say. Check out the review. Then I read City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare in audio format. I did listen to the audiobook of City of Heavenly Fire mainly because I really wanted to know how the pieces fit together for Lady Midnight, but I actually didn't hate it. I think out of all of the Mortal Instrument books, I liked it the most. Maybe because there was finally closure to some stuff. And I gave it 3 stars, was really just reading it to catch up and see what had happened in between the 2 series. Then I listened to The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. When I tell you that the narrator of this, who did a great job, phenomenal job, however, his regular talking pace was so slow that 1.75 speed sounded normal. It was ridiculous. I didn't love it. I wanted to. I think there were parts of it that were really beautiful and tragic, just touching. Whimsy of it at times was really cool. At other times, I understood nothing of what was going on. I thought I would understand more of the vibe and the feel of the world and the story and the circus by listening to it, but I didn't. And I don't know if it was because it was one of those books that you couldn't be like distracted and doing other things while listening to it, and I never sit and just listen. I'm always doing other things. So I might pick this up and give it a reread at some point to see if actually physically sitting down and immersing myself in it changes things. Don't see myself doing it anytime soon because I didn't like it enough to really want to force myself to do that just to see if I feel differently. I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't fall into like this magical, mystical realm that other people seemed to. I gave it 4 stars. Today is the 27th, and I got from the library, read, and finished Every Day by David Levithan. I gave it 4 stars. It was a really interesting premise, one that I hadn't explored before. A wakes up every day in a different body. He's still there every day in his own consciousness with his own memories of what has happened days and days before, but always in a different physical body, in a different place. But one day he meets a girl and falls in love and wants to keep going back to her, which presents a problem because he looks different every single day. What I found so intriguing about this book is that there's so much diversity. There's different races portrayed, there's different sexual orientations portrayed. He himself is very gender and sexuality fluid in terms of spectrum. At one point in this, he is a transgendered youth. At one point in this, he is a child with diabetes. He has been grossly overweight. He has been suicidal. He has had drug addiction. But you see all these different versions of teenage life and different glimpses day by day into all these different situations that can face children. I thought that was really interesting, really, really cool. I have seen the second book of this series, an audiobook on my library's catalog, so I may listen to the second book of this. Then I'm gonna get to my Sara J Mass, guys. I have officially finished my entire Sara J Mass collection of published works, which means officially that the series that I will be reading in March, I know I put my March TBR, it went live already, I'll link it up above, and I said I was going to read A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I've already finished them. So I will officially be going on to the series that you guys voted for, and overwhelmingly the Grisha trilogy won. So I'll be reading the Grisha trilogy this month, but let me get into this. So I finished Queen of Shadows, which took me the longest out of all of the books to read. I don't know why, but I could not get into this book. I could not make myself read it. I ended up giving this 3 stars, and I ended up really liking the secondary characters of this book way more than the main characters in this book. Not really the main relationship, although I will say I am trash for Rowan. I will be doing an entire Sara J Mass wrap-up. I'm hoping to have that up this weekend. And I will be going over the entire Throne of Glass series and A Court of Mist and Fury and Thorns and Roses series. So look for that, because I will go into more depth and spoilery talk. But in general, this one didn't sit well with me. It didn't read for me. I don't know why, but I could not get through this. But I mastered it, and I'm glad I did, because then I could move on to Empire of Storms. And guys, this book gave me so many feels. This one definitely got 5 stars. I don't know of the whole series. I'll have it in the series breakdown what the star ratings were for all the books. I feel like in Queen of Shadows, it was so much setup and so much stagnation, and in this, shit started to actually happen, which I appreciated so much. There was some action in the end of Queen of Shadows, but I was actually really unhappy with it. There was like some epic battles between some serious long-standing villains, and I was not happy with the way that they occurred. So in this, we finally get to see like the aftermath of that, and then some forward momentum in the plot and in what they need to do, and just things happened in this relationship-wise. Again, the side characters are phenomenal. The main character, again, started to be like interesting to me, and Rowan, oh my god, garbage for him, and I need to look up fan art and just get some for this series because it was so good, and A Court of Thorns and Roses series, but this one in particular was like my fave, and now I'm among the others just gnawing on my fingers waiting for the next book to come out of this. So I'm glad that I got through that series. You can tell her writing grew. And in this one, it started off stronger than the other series, so I like this one better. And what I appreciated about this book, which I think bored a lot of people, was the world building. And I literally put down Empire of Storms and picked this up. So I needed the world building in this to really differentiate the different fae and the different world and the different courts. And so the world building in this actually really helped solidify the difference between the 2 series. So I really appreciated it. I could understand how other people might have been bored with it if this was what they picked up first, but I appreciated it because it helped me like mentally switch from one series to the next. And I loved the magic system in this. I loved the world building in this. I love the world, the courts, the fae, the everything. I love that Feyre is such a badass, strong character from the beginning, like from the get-go. And that's not something that comes later with the help of a man or magic or etc. Like, she's just already badass, which so is Selena. Like, it just, I like the way that Sarah writes her characters that way. And this was a much closer Beauty and the Beast retelling than I thought it was going to be. Like, the comparisons and similarities were there a lot stronger than I thought they were, because a lot of people said it was like really loosely based, but it was pretty stinking close. Like, it was there. Like, it was all there. And I appreciated that because that's my favorite story. So I was all about it. So good. Which led me to this beauty. This book got 5 stars. I gave Court of Thorns and Roses 4 stars. This one went 5 star. So amazing. And because it's the second book, I can't really say that much, but I will say more in my Sara J Mass breakdown. I absolutely 100% understand Rhysand. And I said while I was reading this one that it was really difficult for me to ship Feyre and Tamlin, because I knew I liked Tamlin in this book, and I knew that come this book, everybody was so into Rhysand that Tamlin was like a thing of the past. So I was already finding it hard to get into the relationship in A Court of Thorns and Roses, knowing that something was going to change so drastically in this one. And I get it now. It is like an Adam to Warner switch from Shatter Me series by Tahara Mafi. And it's just, but done so much better, like so much richer and deeper and complex. It's beautiful. And I need the next one like ASAP, because I want it to be like double this. Like, can it be like huger than this? Can it just be like the most massive book ever? Because I don't ever want it to end. That was everything. That's all the books I read this month. So I made myself a super easy TBR thinking I would get to nothing. And I ended up reading 15 books, some of which were like massive. Like, these are not small books. These are giant hunkin' books. and I still flew through them. So, well, except for Queen of Shadows, that was not easy for me. In general, so amazing. Like, such a great reading month. That's been my February wrap up. I hope you guys, like I said, had a fantastic reading month. If you liked my wrap up, if you like me, give me a big thumbs up, click subscribe, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye.